Hey everyone, I'm Tarini Sood and I'm back with another episode of The Making Of. Today I'd like to call out to every aspiring patissier out there, this is not a journey you want to miss out on. Our guest today is someone who studied food management in London, chocolate technology in Germany, and has worked with some very well-known international chocolatiers and patisseries. She has even been crowned Pastry Chef of India. Today she is creative director and executive chef at La Folie and also helms the luxury chocolate boutique La Folie du Chocolat. We have with us Sanjana Patel. Hi Sanjana, thank you so much for joining us today. It's lovely to have you on the show.
Thank you, Tarini, for inviting me for this particular interview. I think it's a great opportunity, and yeah, thank you to you guys. Yeah.
So Sanjana, you've had quite the education when it comes to pastry making and chocolate making. What I'd like to ask you is now, what skills have you picked up from every country that you studied in?
Technically speaking, I'm a food scientist. So I started off studying food science. I got into working with a little time with Nestle, uh,
Mm.
and it was more in the chocolate department. I kind of got bored with it really early in my career, and I said that this is not a platform for me, and I don't want to be just behind the scenes doing R&D and all of that. So I went on to doing a diploma and a master's in pastry and chocolate arts in France and in the UK for a while. And having done that, it got me a lot of opportunities because my CV kind of became interesting apparently for a lot of recruiters because I had done food science, so I had an understanding of how nutritional values work for product development. So apparently that was like a skill that was learned and it was also applied, and along with that the creative skills that I
Mm.
learned via different culinary programs, and so that became really interesting. So when I worked at different patisseries or in different hotels and cafes, then I was definitely heading the production department for a bit, but then also at the same time I was really a
Okay.
core member of the R&D and the menu development process, which I think is a very interesting
Hmm.
process that not a lot of people get to see. So that was great. Yeah.
Okay, now, with all of your exposure, coming back to India, working with an Indian audience, creating a brand that an Indian audience would relate to, how difficult was it and how did you manage to do that?
So having coming to India was it was like there were no plans to come back.
Okay.
Firstly, it was more of an opportunity driven situation. I just wanted to test the market and see whether it will be working or not. So my husband had come down from abroad in 2010. I moved my bases back home around 2013, and we started with a small cafe come store, or chocolate store
Hmm.
boutique in the fourth side, Kalahora side, which is the art district of Mumbai. And we really did not know what's going to work or not, so I just kind of put my best foot forward with respect to the skills I have applied and learned, especially in France. And we started with French pastries, and
Yeah.
we were the first. I think we were the first game changers of the market, where a lot of people were doing, other kind of, American bakery products, and we started with sourdough breads and French pastries and French chocolate.
Yeah.
So definitely, there was no understanding of the market being, wanting to accept what we were doing. But because it was a refreshing idea,
Hmm.
a new idea, I think it was a break for a lot of people. So we started with desserts. We have pivoted more strongly into having a more focused business model right now. We are more chocolate focused. So whatever comes out of chocolate, stemming out of chocolate, be it desserts, be it cookies, be it chocolate bars or chocolate confectionery, that is what our core is. And the idea is, of course, to use now. I mean, initially we were importing a lot of ingredients and using imported chocolate, but now we've gone taken a step backwards, and we're actually working with a lot of farming communities across
Hmm.
India, especially in the south of India.
Okay.
And we're using the cacao, we're blending the cacao with different kind of beans from South America, and all of that to make our own chocolate, and that chocolate is being
Mm.
used for other different ancillary products that we produce.
How do you come up with, your chocolate flavors, and what are the experiments like? Because I'm guessing the menu has to constantly evolve. How do you ensure that this happens? How do these ideas come to you?
So the ideas come when I'm fresh in the morning. So I get up really early. Something like how people go and do yoga and they meditate. I kind of meditate on flavors because during the day it's the situations are very chaotic, or there's always something happening last minute with orders and customers and meetings. So the morning time I really love. So love to pen my ideas down. Sometimes they don't work. Sometimes it requires a lot of research whether it will work or not. So it's not just the idea of a flavor. I think it's the idea of the whole product and the concept, and whether it's from start to finish, is it really going to sell. So a lot of, I would say, a lot of entrepreneurs and new home bakers or home bakers, they just want to make a product, but they don't realize how they're going to do the marketing of it, or how they're going to propose
Yeah.
it to the customer, whether it's going to be able to be met with the customer's demand, or whether there is a demand in the market for something like this, or do you really need to create it through via education. So I think it's a lot got to do with that. So sometimes trying like very unique flavors can also be a challenge, because we are in a country where there are not too many migrators or experimenters for new
Right.
flavors, although they are in smaller pockets. But then if when you're trying to really work across your volume of your numbers of your what you're trying to sell, then you need to think about a larger audience, and then a lot of consumer education comes in. So I think that's a really interesting part for me. So yeah.
Now, I'd also like to know, how do you source the raw materials for your chocolate, and how involved are you in the process?
So personally, it starts on a drawing board. So there's always a key important ingredient in the center of the, of a diagram, of a pie diagram, and then there are spokes around it where, okay, this particular ingredient will do well with this. So we are talking about five textures where it's sweet, salty, savory, bitterness, the mouth feel, how it will melt on the tongue, or how it will be consumed. Is it going to be too dense or not? So we're thinking about those other aspects as well with the key ingredient.
Right.
For example, we are working on a menu for coffee right now as a collaboration with one of my friends, and we're trying to use his coffee and understand the coffee flavor notes and its roast profile, and then pairing it with different fruits. So the
Okay.
spring, we're working on a spring menu. So things like working with a lime in paired with coffee, but not just any lime. We're looking at a Japanese lime, or we're looking at a clementine. We're looking at Nagpur oranges. So those are the kind of things that we're looking at specific flavors. So idea of understanding that, of course, requires a lot of training and tasting and
Yeah.
understanding the all the different five senses of the products. So I think that's where it really starts for us.
So I have a question for you. If there was one teacher in your life that you have learned from, that you have actually taken something from, that you incorporate in your own cooking techniques even today, who is that?
For me, I have had a lot of mentors. Some of the mentors have been more got to do with skill set. But when it comes to understanding flavors and understanding consumers, perception, I think definitely for me has been a chef in France by the name of Christophe Michelak. I worked the longest with him. I grew under him a lot. He also taught me not to just look at making a product or developing a product just from a perspective of a chef, but from a perspective of a consumer. So that's
Right.
very important. So before you like it, you want to make sure that the other people like it, and then why they like it. I think understanding the emotions behind why they are liking it will always make a more winning product, rather than just making a product because you want to introduce that. So I think that was a very important skill, and it kind of changed my the way I used to think about R&D and product development, because technically I am a product development
Yeah.
specialist. And it really made me look at things very differently, and I think that is what I applied from the first go of the business when I started. I did what I wanted to do, but there was always a balance between what also what the customer wanted. So I think I tried to invite them into my world,
Mm,
and did a lot of consumer
mm,
education via tastings and trials. I think that's something any food entrepreneur should do, is tastings and trials, because other than that,
mm,
that's the best marketing, to be honest. I mean, you can do anything, but if you do not make people taste and try, it will
yeah.
won't work. So I think getting feedback from them, also hearing their feedback, what can improve, what cannot, what really works, what doesn't really work. So I think that was
Mm.
very important early in our business at La Folie. Yes.
Yeah. I have this question for you now. So, you would have heard that Maggie India has started their collaboration with India Food Network to come up with the Apna Food business campaign. Now, this campaign actually offers home chefs and food entrepreneurs a chance to start their own online food business or food delivery service. What do you think about this campaign?
I think it's a very exciting opportunity, and especially if you have somebody like Maggie backing it up. I remember the jingles that Maggie used to have, and it used to be so inviting when it comes to trying their products, even if they were just ad commercials. When I was young, but like this is a
Hmm.
great opportunity for young businesses or young entrepreneurs who have issues when it comes to procuring capital to start to have a proper startup or to have a proper business model. So I think this kind of I would say this is a kind of a support that is being given to them, and I think it's a great opportunity for them that
Hmm.
they should use it wisely. I think that's more important, and
Yeah.
so they should know how what to do about it after that. So I think this is a great campaign.
Thank you so much for that. I have one question more for you for today. So now, if you had one piece of advice to give to somebody who is just about starting their own food business or their own journey into the culinary world, what would that piece of advice be?
You need to have some resilience,
Mm.
and you need to be patient as well.
Mhm.
Resilient, why? Because there are going to be a lot of critiques out there. uh,
Yeah,
if you have your own level of confidence and you think you're okay, it's not going to be good all the time. You're going to improve with customer feedback. You're going to also improve with time, with the markets and everything. But survival is the survival of the fittest. It's really about that.
yeah.
So I think
Mm.
definitely having resilience and all is okay. Otherwise, everything is then down to a business plan, what you write.
Now, Sanjana, before we wind up, I've got three quick questions for you. If you could just answer them with whatever comes into your head first.
Yes.
Out of your own chocolate creations, which is your favorite and what are you most proud of?
So I really like the smoked pink salt that we do at La Folie. It's a chocolate bar. The reason why I like that is also, of course, because of the I love pink salt in chocolate. It just brings the aromas of the chocolate out, and I think we smoke it with lapsang souchong tea, which is a Chinese herb tea, and
Mm.
it creates this little flavors of bacon. And I'm a vegetarian. I've turned vegetarian, so you can
Okay.
understand why I like it. So yeah, yeah.
The one character trait that you think is most important in a food entrepreneur?
Never back down. So he shouldn't back down.
Okay.
So
And
a lot of people come and they
yeah,
work with us at La Folie, but they don't have the
yeah,
patience. They get criticized, they get run over. But the fact that you come back next day to work
yeah,
again, it shows a lot of character. So I think that's
yeah.
really important. Yeah.
Okay. If you could choose one word to describe the future of the Indian culinary scene, what would that word be?
I think exciting.
Thank you so much, Sanjana, for joining us today. It's been lovely having you, and I'm sure all our budding patissiers and chocolatiers are going to love this episode.
Thank you so much, Tarini, for inviting me again. And I wish all you guys all the best. And this is a great opportunity. So, yeah, work on it.
Thank you all for joining us today. I hope today's session has been informative and fun for every chocolate lover and aspiring pastry chef out there. I'll see you again next week with another special guest.